everyone, this is Lexi from Roam Lab, and today we're installing the HappiJac frame mount camper tie-down system. We've been using the Brophy tie-downs to secure our camper to our truck, but it's time for an upgrade. These HappiJac tie-downs are almost invisible, tucked between the cab and the truck bed, but there's a lot of heavy-duty hardware that goes into securing these discrete anchors to the frame. We'll be using the HappiJac camper anchor tie-downs, stabilizing bar, and stainless steel turnbuckle set. So let's get started. First, we are mounting the guide plates to the stabilizing bar. Line up the two large circular holes on each side of the bar and secure with the sheet metal screws provided in Kit A. We start with the screwdriver and then finish off with a ratcheting wrench. Next, we loosely attach the frame braces to the guide plate with the 3/8 inch fine thread bolts and nuts. We just need to finger tighten the bolts because we'll be removing and reattaching them later. Slide some protective plywood between the truck cab and the bed to minimize any damage with this next step. Locate the small oblong openings on the guide plate. Drill a 3/32 inch pilot hole through each opening. Getting these holes right is critical. While the opening is oblong, try to drill the hole as high as possible to prevent the guide plate from slumping later. The screws in these holes are going to be the only thing holding the guide plate in place for some really important drilling with very little room for error. Now unbolt the frame bar and then use the sheet metal screws from Kit B to hold the guide plate in place. Next, we take the front anchor plate and the back anchor plate and attach them using 1/4 inch sheet metal screws. This will sit between the truck cab and the bed and be the point that your turnbuckles mount to and to hold the camper in place. Like an iceberg, you only see a little of this anchor, but there's a lot going on underneath. Using a 7/16 inch bit, drill through the 4 large circular holes on each guide plate and into the front truck bed wall. These holes match up with the anchor plate and are where we will be connecting the anchor plate to the rest of the assembly. Here is the moment of truth. You should be able to put the frame bars back in position, but this time we insert 3/8 inch fine thread bolts through the bar, guide plate, front truck bed wall, and into the anchor plate on the other side. This is a 2-person job, so one person will hold the plate in place while the other screws in the bolts. Frankly, we didn't get this right the first time. The guide plate slipped while we were drilling, so we had one onerous task of widening the holes. You need these holes to be just so to make everything work. This next step, we are securing the back plate. Of course, it's on the other side of the truck bed where it's pretty hard to see and access, so we are relying on measurements. Be sure to measure twice before any drilling. We use masking tape to mark out the guidelines, 1 inch from the bend in the truck bed wall. We establish a center point using the line of the stabilizer bar and then mark out 2 pilot holes, 1.5 inches above and below that hole. Then we use self-drilling and self-tapping screws from Kit J to secure the backing plates. This is the step where we finally mount the whole assembly directly to the truck's frame. Measure 3 inches from the front bed wall. This spot lines up with the truck's frame below. Use a 3/8 inch bit to drill through the truck bed, floor, and frame. Be careful to drill perpendicular to the floor. With the hole drilled, drop in the 5-inch carriage bolt. Under the truck bed, secure the bolt with a reinforcing plate, flat washer, lock washer, and hex nut. Congratulations, the front anchor is secured, but we aren't quite finished. Now it's time to tackle the front centering guide lock. Fortunately, it's pretty straightforward. Thread the long stove bolt nut through the metal sleeve, plastic cone, flat washer, and secure it with the bar nut bolt from Kit E. Here, we are going to set the bumper in place by slipping the bar nut bolt into this gap in the guide plate and stabilizer bar. To do this, we need the bolt as loose as possible and parallel to the rest of the bumper. Carefully slip the bar nut bolt in, but don't tighten it yet. When you are doing this, be sure that the guide cone is as close to the outer truck bed wall as possible. The guide cones will help center and secure the camper when loading it into the truck bed, so it's important that their spacing is just a little wider than the width of your truck camper. So, Measure the width of your truck camper and then slide the bumpers so that the inner cones are the width of your camper plus 1/4 inch. To make sure that you are properly centered, it helps to mark the center of the stabilizing bar and then slide each bumper to be half the width of the camper and 1/8 inch from the center. Go ahead and tighten the carriage bolts now. Once tight, we test the fit by backing the truck into place under the camper. The fit is perfect, so we have one last step to finish. We drill 5 32-inch pilot holes through the 2 remaining holes on each bumper and secure the bumper to the guide plate with the remaining 1-inch long truss screws. Now that the bumper won't slide anymore, we are ready to test out these new front tie-downs. I hadn't even thought much about this feature when we bought the kit, but it is fantastic, helping to center the camper when loading and then holding it in place while traveling. We easily assemble the HappiJac turnbuckles and secure our Avion camper to the truck. We aren't installing the rear HappiJac tie-downs because they mount to the back bumper, which we remove whenever the camper is on our truck. So, until we devise a better solution, we're still using the old back brophy tie-downs. And there we go! I tried to keep this video simple, but you can find more written directions with pictures and extra annotations on our website, roamlab.com. If you found this helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to Roam Lab for future DIY truck camper renovation projects.